I want you to listen to Nancy Pelosi lie about where the Catholic Church stands on Obama's new health care law when asked by CNS News. Watch.
The administration has issued a regulation that will require all healthcare plans to cover sterilization and all FDA-approved contraceptives, including those that induce abortions. This would force Catholic individuals and institutions to act against their consciences. All across the nation, Catholic...
Is this a speech, or do we have a question in disguise as a...
We will not comply with this law. Catholic bishops are saying they will not comply with this law. Will you stand with your fellow Catholics in resisting this law, or will you stick by the administration?
First of all, I'm going to stick with my fellow Catholics in supporting the administration on this. I think it was a very courageous decision that they made, and I support it.
Okay. Are you kidding me? Not only does she lie about the church's support for the bill, she then says it was brave for the government to come out and tell Catholics to stand against their own faith. I don't even understand that, except it's despicable. We've seen many times Nancy Pelosi does despicable just as well as anybody does. Last year, here she is asking the Catholic clergy to help the administration jam their immigration policy down the parishioners' throats by writing the same kind of letter she's now protesting. Watch.
I would hope that there's one thing that we can do working together as we go forward that speaks to what the Bible tells us about the dignity and worth of every person. And that is on the subject of immigration, because I think the church is going to have to play a very major role in how people are treated. The cardinals, the archbishops, the bishops come to me and say, we want you to pass immigration reform. And I said, but I want you to speak about it from the pulpit. I want you to instruct your, whatever the communication is. The people, some who oppose immigration reform, are sitting in those pews.
Basically, she wants them to write a letter exactly what they did. What she's doing is what the Baltimore News did and was so skilled at doing. They twist the gospel to fit their agenda. Then she tells the Catholic clergy to preach it from the pulpit. But when they do, it's trouble. Now, this is the same person that will scream separation of church and state. If a nativity scene is placed in public, she finds it perfectly acceptable to scream about it. But she also will use religion to further her religion, the federal government. She even had the unmitigated gall to speak to those Catholic clergy members about the quote, dignity and worth of every person. The dignity and worth of every person except for the unborn. She cares about the worth of those breaking our laws, but not the innocent, the helpless babies that the clergy she's speaking to would like to protect. She also helped rally the clergy to get health care passed. Here she is thanking them for their support. Watch.
We believe that the health care initiative was respecting the dignity and worth of every person. I thank so many of you who helped get that passed. Thank God for the nuns. Thank God for the nuns. Thank God for the nuns. And nuns, imagine 16 leaders of orders representing 59,000 orders. And I didn't realize I was Dominican, Benedictine, Franciscan, Notre Dame de Namur, Notre Dame School Sisters, every possible kind of name you can think of there, they were on the list. And they wrote to us saying, we support this life-affirming legislation. We were so proud of them, and they helped us do just that.
And now, many of those same nuns feel betrayed. Won't it be fascinating if this horrific bill doesn't get repealed next year to see how life-affirming it really is when we have government panels deciding who receives health care and who doesn't, because it has to happen. There are more federally funded abortions. How are they going to feel then? Now the government says, stand against your Catholic faith, and Nancy Pelosi calls that brave. Well, of course you do if your religion is government. Nancy Pelosi and our government's God is government. Remember what Senator Tom Harkin said about Congress and how Congress creates rights.
What this bill does is we finally take that step. As our leader said earlier, we take that step from health care as a privilege to health care as an inalienable right of every single American citizen. As I said before, this bill is not complete.
It's not complete. He goes on to say in that particular piece there that they'll have to go continue to create and work on this right. Tom, God created rights, not the U.S. Congress. But for progressives like these, their religion is the government. And unless people of faith stand together, first they'll come for the Catholics, and then they'll come for me or you. And it's strange to me that they're stirring the pot. They're stirring the pot right now with so many that, I mean, there's a big Catholic population and a big Hispanic population. They want trouble. They want to divide us. But here's, I think, the most disturbing part in this very disturbing story. The Army is now being silenced. The Army is now silencing Catholic chaplains from speaking out against the Obama administration's health care ruling. We told you last week how Catholic priests were reading letters to parishioners condemning the health care mandate because it forces religious employers to provide their employees with health care coverage for contraception and abortion-inducing drugs. If you're not Catholic, don't worry, it will come to you and your church. Well, Catholic chaplains in the U.S. Army were, quote, forbidden from reading those letters in their masses on Sunday. This is the very separation these people are so fond of quoting. The wall of separation is to protect religion from the dictates of the government, not the other way around. And here they are, of course, using the word very carefully, dictating to religious leaders what they can and cannot say to their congregations. Here's what Robbie George, he's the McCormick Professor of Jewish Prudence at Princeton University, said about this, quote, "It is hard to imagine a more grotesque offense against a constitutionally guaranteed freedom than an effort to censor what military chaplains, be they Catholics, Protestants, Jews, or Muslims, can say from the pulpit, especially on a matter of faith and morals that has no connection to military plans or activities." The irony is that this assault against religious freedom was an attempt to shut down criticism of a policy that is itself an assault on religious freedom. What all Americans should be asking is this: who originated this effort to silence the priests? Did it come from someone within the military, or from someone in the Department of Defense, or from someone in the White House? Inquiring minds, especially among the Friends of Liberty, want to know. Bill Donahue, he's the president of the Catholic League. Here's what he had to say it. Quote, "Never," do we have it? "Never has there been such an assault on the Roman Catholic religion as we are witnessing now. The Obama administration has punished the Catholic Church for its pro-life position by denying its funds to combat human trafficking it recently sought and lost in an attempt to allow the federal government to police the employment decisions of religious entities. It is an attempt to force Catholic organizations to provide coverage for abortion-inducing drugs, contraception, and sterilization. And now it is trying to censor the free speech rights of Catholic priests in the military." Gang, I'm telling you now, I don't care if you're Catholic or not. I don't care if you don't like the Catholics. We have to stand together, not on doctrine. I'm a former Catholic, and I am happy in my own religion now. But on this principle, freedom of religion, we must stand together. I love this. I told somebody just the other day that this summer it was reported on the blogosphere that I was going to go all Jewish. Glenn Beck's going Jewish, because I said, stand with the Jewish people and respect them. Respect them. He's going Jewish. Now I have a lot of evangelical friends, and I'm standing with evangelicals, and I'm saying, I am your friend, whatever I can do to help you. And I've spoken at so many evangelical churches now, and people are like, he's going evangelical. Now it's going to be said, Glenn Beck's going Catholic. No, I'm going human. What do you say we all try it? And we stand with people, people of faith. I encourage you to take just a few minutes right now and go to this website and sign up right here. Get your parish action kit today. I don't have a parish, but this is the Catholic Advocates Action Kit to fight this mandate. According to their website, the HHS mandate is an overt attack by the Obama administration on the Catholic Church. Catholic Advocates is once again leading the charge to defend our religious liberties, but we urgently need your help. Our plan is to recruit parish leaders nationwide to rally fellow lay Catholics to blanket members of Congress with letters against the mandate. This is a full frontal assault from the Obama administration, his allies in Congress, and unfortunately, we now have Supreme Court justices who are not standing with our Constitution. Question is why? I don't know if you've heard this yet. It's up on the Blaze. It's an amazing story. Our Supreme Court justices, some of them don't believe in the Constitution. It's old, it's dated, and it doesn't address social justice. I want to have you listen to Supreme Court Justice Darth Bader Ginsburg. She is speaking in Egypt about the U.S. Constitution. Here she is. Watch.
I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. That was a deliberate attempt to have a fundamental instrument of government that embraced basic human rights, had an independent judiciary. It really is, I think, a great piece of work that was done.
Okay, so here she is over in South Africa. Sorry, not in South Africa, in Egypt, telling, don't listen to the Americans. The Constitution, it's old, it's outdated, but there's some good things here. There's some good things. I mean, there's some good things, about the Constitution in the interview as well. But we're talking about the U.S. Constitution, the document that has lasted longer than any political document. And she's one of the people whose job it is to protect it. And she sits on national TV in Egypt and she says, don't look at us. Look to South Africa for guidance, because ours is too old and inadequate. Now, as you can imagine, the first thing I did this morning is look at South Africa's constitution. And of course, it's all about social justice. It also seems to be a document of more positive liberties than negative ones. Where have I heard about that? Well, yeah, I remember. That's right, the president. This also says to heal the divisions of the past and establish a society based on democratic values, social justice, and fundamental human rights. Lay the foundations for a democratic and open society. South Africa. I don't know about you, but we have a Supreme Court justice whose job it is to protect our Constitution, and she says, don't look at us all. The attack on everything we hold dear is becoming complete, and it is not just an attack on faith. It is the excusing of the PC phase and the turning of a blind eye. It is happening not just here, but all over the world. And if you think you can remain silent, or if you think you can just say, well, you know what, I don't have to really worry about it. I'll just check out. It won't affect me. You can't check out of a corrupt society. Let me show you how this is happening all over the world. In Sweden, they are now threatening a Jewish homeschooling family with fines equivalent to about $2,400 a week for refusing to place their children in Swedish public schools. A change on the 1st of January into Swedish law tightened education restrictions, permitting homeschooling only in extraordinary circumstances. And religious issues are explicitly excluded as a valid reason for homeschooling. You can't do that. Really? Here's something else the media is conveniently leaving out. The Ayatollah Khomeini, is the supreme leader now in Iran. He has just said that Israel is a cancerous tumor and must be removed. He referred to the Israeli state as the Zionist entity that is the enemy of Islam. Not Iran, Islam. By the way, this is the wrong Khomeini. This is Khomeini, and we're looking for the Khomeini. I know, it's confusing, but I think that's the one they dropped out of a coffin a few years back. Now, If you say that they're the enemy of all of Islam and they have to all be killed, doesn't that have just like a hint of genocide to it? I mean, it smacks of religious intolerance. Maybe it's just me. Where's the left on that one? Where's Nancy Pelosi talking about the dignity and worth of all human life? Where are the Occupy Wall Streeters chanting, hey, hey, ho, ho, Iran's genocide and bigotry have got to go? Where's that? Where's the President of the United States, the best friend of Israel, who's done more for Israeli-American relationships than any other president in history? They're all in the same place they always are, looking to silence their critics, place the blame with others, and allow the flames of real hatred and real violence and real bigotry to burn unabated. You are under attack, and so are your neighbors, whether they know it or not. When I said you got to wake up and you got to take a stand and you have to restore courage in your life, I hope you're beginning to see now why I said that, why I've been saying you've got to put God first. Maybe you can start by standing with our Catholic friends and standing and refusing to sit down. Back in a minute.